Just 6 days ago, my life changed forever. I came face to face with the reality that life can end in a moment, and yet, there is so much more beyond what our eyes can see. My hope is that as you hear my story, something will stir within you, a reminder that our time here has a greater purpose than we realize. Before I go further, I want to invite you to share your own thoughts or experiences in the comments. If you've ever felt God speak to you or had a moment that shook your soul, I would love to hear it. And if you want to join me on this journey of sharing stories that inspire and awaken hearts, please subscribe so you can be part of the messages yet to come. 6 days ago, I was a soldier doing what I'd done for years, training with my unit. It was just another day, until it wasn't. In one split second, something went terribly wrong. The details of the accident are still hazy, but I remember the chaos, the shouting, the pain, the rush of medics. And then everything went still. I learned later that my heart had stopped for 18 minutes. In that time, I left this world. My body lay lifeless, but I was somewhere else entirely. The moment I crossed over, I felt the weight of the world lift from me. There was no pain, no fear, only a peace so deep it felt like it wrapped around my soul. I found myself in a place that was more real than anything I had ever known. The colors were alive, the air seemed to carry music, and every part of me felt whole. In the distance, I saw someone walking toward me. As he came closer, I recognized him, my grandfather. He had passed away many years ago, yet here he was, healthy, radiant, and smiling in a way I'd never seen on earth. He didn't speak with his mouth, but I felt his thoughts as clearly as if they were my own. He welcomed me, but he also made it clear I wasn't here to stay. Then another presence appeared, brighter than the sun, yet gentle enough that I felt no fear. My spirit knew instantly who he was. It was Jesus. I saw him in a way that seemed to shine right into me, as though he could see every part of my life in a single glance. Every failure, every pain, every hidden thought. And yet, there was only love in his eyes. A love so strong it brought me to my knees without a word. He revealed to me that my time was not over, but that I had been brought here to see and to hear what I must take back. He told me there were things coming, not to scare me but to prepare me and to prepare others. I didn't fully understand then what he was about to show me, but I felt the weight of it press deep into my soul. That was when the visions began. The first vision came like a wave of light, pulling me into what felt like a living picture. I wasn't just watching, I was there, standing in the middle of it. I found myself in a vast city. At first, everything looked normal, but then I began to notice the unease on people's faces. Their voices were filled with panic. Crowds moved in every direction, some shouting, others crying. I looked up and saw the massive screens and news tickers flashing headlines. Markets collapsing, banks shutting their doors, people losing everything they had in a matter of hours. Jesus was beside me, though I could feel his presence more than I could see him clearly now. He revealed to me that this was an economic collapse unlike anything the world had seen. It wasn't just a dip or a recession. It was the unraveling of systems people had built their lives upon. He showed me how trust in wealth, in possessions, in the security of money would crumble like dust in the wind. I saw people who had been powerful reduced to desperation, and I saw others, who once had little, rise with quiet strength because their hope had never been in those things to begin with. I wanted to look away, but the vision pulled me deeper. I saw families sitting in dimly lit homes, not knowing how they would make it through another week. I saw fear gripping communities. Yet, in the middle of it, I saw small pockets of light, homes where people gathered not to complain but to pray. They shared what little food they had. They sang songs of worship in candlelight. And in those places, there was a peace that couldn't be shaken, even as the world outside trembled. Jesus revealed to me that this shaking was not meant to destroy, but to strip away false foundations. He told me that for too long, people had trusted in things that could vanish in a moment. He wanted them to turn their hearts back to the only foundation that could not be moved. As the vision faded, my heart felt heavy, but I also sensed something else, a deep, unshakable hope. I understood that even in the darkest times, God would be raising up people who would shine his light brighter than ever before. But this was only the beginning. I could feel his presence urging me to look again, because what I had seen was just the first of many. The scene around me shifted, and I found myself standing in a place that felt strangely familiar yet completely foreign. At first I thought I was back on Earth, but then I realized I was looking at the planet from above. I could see oceans, mountains, and sprawling cities, but as I looked closer, I saw something unusual. The earth began to tremble not just in one place but in many places at once. It started with a roaring sound, deep, like the growl of something ancient rising from the depths. Mountains shook. The ground split in places I never imagined could break. Storms formed without warning, fierce and unrelenting. I saw floods swallow entire neighborhoods, hurricanes tearing through coastlines, and wildfires raging with a fury that seemed unstoppable. But it wasn't just one disaster. It was many happening in a wave, one after another. Jesus was beside me again, and though his presence radiated peace, I could feel the weight of what he was showing me. He revealed to me that these natural disasters would come as a humbling force, a reminder that humanity is not as in control as it believes. He told me that pride had blinded many hearts, making them think they could build lives without him, and now creation itself would cry out for attention. I watched as people searched for answers. Many cursed the skies, angry and afraid, but I also saw others kneeling in the wreckage, their tears falling into the dust as they prayed for the first time in years. Some prayed out of desperation, but others prayed because their eyes had been opened. They saw now what truly mattered. In one moment of the vision, I stood in the middle of a destroyed street. Buildings were reduced to rubble, cars overturned, and the air was thick with smoke. And yet, through the destruction, I saw believers moving among the hurting, giving water, holding trembling hands, speaking words of hope. They weren't superheroes or famous leaders. They were ordinary men, women, and even children, but they carried a presence with them that was unmistakable. They weren't just helping with supplies. They were bringing peace that seemed to calm the chaos. Jesus showed me that these disasters would test every heart, but for those who truly trusted him, they would also be moments of great opportunity, moments where his love could shine in the darkest valleys. He revealed to me that the world would see his people not by their words alone, but by the way they loved in times when others only feared. As this vision faded, I felt both sorrow and a strange kind of anticipation. It was as if he was showing me that even in the breaking, something beautiful was being prepared. But I could tell, there was still more he wanted me to see. The vision shifted again, and suddenly I was standing in the middle of a city street. But this time, it wasn't nature causing the destruction. It was people. The air was heavy with tension, and the sound of shouting echoed between buildings. Groups faced each other in anger, their eyes filled with hatred and mistrust. Some carried signs, others weapons. I could feel the heat of rage radiating from the crowds, and it was as though the entire city was ready to tear itself apart. Jesus was beside me, and he revealed to me that this was civil unrest, not just a political disagreement, but a deep spiritual division that had taken root in the hearts of people. He showed me that truth itself would be twisted, that lies would be embraced because they suited personal desires, and that the enemy would use confusion and division to pit neighbors, friends, and even family members against one another. I saw neighborhoods turning into battlegrounds. Lawlessness spread like a shadow across the land. People no longer trusted the systems meant to protect them. Fear ruled, and with fear came violence. But in the middle of all the chaos, I also saw something unexpected. Small gatherings of people who refused to let hatred rule them. They prayed together, shared meals, and listened to one another even when they disagreed. Their unity was like a light in the darkness, and it drew others in. Jesus told me that in these days, love would be the truest sign of those who followed him. Not a love that was blind or weak, but a love that stood firm in truth while refusing to dehumanize those on the other side. He revealed to me that this kind of love would be rare, but powerful, and that it would open doors for hearts to change in ways arguments never could. Then the scene darkened. I saw coordinated attacks, not from within but from enemies outside. It began quietly in ways no one noticed at first. Systems failing, communications breaking down, power grids going dark. Then came sudden strikes, hitting places that had once felt untouchable. The fear in people's eyes turned to desperation, and I felt the weight of vulnerability settle over the nation like a heavy fog. Jesus showed me that these attacks would expose how fragile human defenses truly are, but they would also be a turning point for many. He revealed to me that when people realize they cannot save themselves, many will finally cry out to the one who can. And in that moment, the ground would be ready for something far greater than fear. As I stood there watching the unrest and the attacks, my heart broke for the suffering I saw, but I also sensed that this was leading to the most important part of the message he had for me. There was something beyond the chaos, something he wanted me to carry back as a promise of hope. The darkness began to fade, and in its place, I saw something so beautiful it made my spirit ache. The noise of chaos was replaced by the sound of singing, not from one place but from countless gatherings all over the land. I saw people in living rooms, parks, abandoned buildings, and open fields. They were praying, worshiping, and embracing one another. Some were laughing through tears, others kneeling in surrender, and many lifting their hands to heaven. Jesus revealed to me that this was the great spiritual awakening, the very reason he had shown me all the calamities before. He told me that the shaking, the breaking, and the loss were never meant to be the end. They were the beginning. Hearts that had been cold were now on fire. People who had never opened a Bible before were reading it like it was life itself. Families were restoring relationships. Strangers were becoming brothers and sisters. I saw young people rising up with a boldness that startled even seasoned believers. They weren't just speaking about God, they were living in His power. Miracles were happening in places no one expected. The sick were healed, the broken were comforted, and lives were being transformed in ways that left no doubt about who was behind it. It was as if the early church from the book of Acts had returned, but this time, it was happening in homes, streets, and communities everywhere. Jesus showed me that there would still be persecution, skepticism, and even mockery, but it wouldn't stop what He was doing. In fact, the more opposition rose, the stronger the faith of this remnant would become. They weren't following trends or movements, they were following Him no matter the cost. Then He turned to me. His eyes, full of both love and urgency, seemed to pierce through my soul. He revealed to me that my testimony would carry authority because I had seen these things firsthand. He told me to return and prepare, not just myself but to call others to prepare as well. He made it clear that preparation was not about storing wealth or building defenses, but about anchoring our hearts to Him, because only those whose hope was in God would stand unshaken in the days ahead. And just as suddenly as it had begun, I was back. The sound of medics shouting, the beeping of machines, the rush of life flooding back into me, it was overwhelming. But even more overwhelming was the weight of what I now carried. I knew I had been given this second chance for a reason, and that reason is what I am sharing with you right now. So I say this to you with all the love and urgency I can: prepare your heart. Draw close to God while there is still time. Let go of the things that cannot save you and hold fast to the one who can. These days we are living in are not the end, but the birth of something new, a chapter where God is calling His people to shine brighter than ever before. Thank you for walking through this testimony with me. If this message has touched your heart, I invite you to share it so others can be encouraged and prepared too. And if you want to continue receiving messages like this, stories of hope, warnings from heaven, and testimonies that stir the soul, please subscribe. Together we can keep the light burning in a world that needs it more than ever.